take off the goggles, guys. Be completely unbiased when you look into games, because Hogwarts Legacy did so well because of all the bullshit surrounding J.K. Rowling. Not even about the actual gameplay.
Absolutely.
Did you see that Hogwarts Legacy became the number one? Okay, I want to make sure I read this properly. Hogwarts Legacy beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 to the top spot as the best-selling game of the year.
Wow.
Which is crazy in the United States. 22, 23 million copies of that game, which, Blabs, you had a take on this, right?
Yeah, so the reason, in my opinion, there's multiple reasons why this game did as well as it did, because it's not that great of a game. Everyone's like, woohoo! No. Anyway.
Yeah, I've seen the gameplay, and I'm just kind of like, oh, it certainly is a video game.
It's extremely empty for such an open world game. You can't even interact with all these other characters. No, I don't like it. However, the reason it did so well was because it's only been 10 years since the last Wizarding World game ever came out. So everyone was itching and hyped up for a new game. So everyone went and bought it. Everyone and their mother went and bought it because everyone grew up with Harry Potter. Now they're like, oh, we can play with our kids, whatever it is. There was that. There was the stupid boycott that totally hyped it all up, saying, you shouldn't buy this. And everyone's like, oh yeah? Watch me. And then they bought it. And then there was everyone else who's doing the boycott who was like, I'm gifting away copies. Yeah, J.K. Rowling. Yeah. Meanwhile, they still actually hate J.K. Rowling. So I'm like, okay, that makes no sense. So this whole thing is the reason why this game did as well as it did.
Yeah.
That is literally it.
It blows my mind that some people still haven't caught on to the fact that marketers have caught on to the fact that stirring up that controversy where it appears that your game is anti-woke when actually there was quite a bit of kind of current day bullshit in the game.
Oh,
actually.
it was maybe Ink is involved in it.
It's a viable marketing strategy at this point, and a lot of gamers, a lot of consumers still haven't caught on to the fact that they kind of are being manipulated in this way. And it's not the first game to do that either.
It certainly won't be the last, for sure.
This is the best way
I mean,
to
when you sell
explain it.
20 million units, yeah, we're going to see a lot more of those.
It was a generic open world with a Harry Potter skin, 100%. It did not feel like Harry Potter. Everyone's like, oh my god! Even the Hogwarts castle was changed to be Victorian era because it took place in the Victorian era, which makes no sense because if you go and watch the movies, read the books, it's all medieval. So it went from medieval to Victorian to medieval. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, there's this element of, people want, obviously we touched on this, people wanted to support it and people bought, I saw somebody in the comments say that they bought like 9 copies for their family and friends. Like you spent $500 just to spite people. It's like,
of course, who knows? Maybe it was on Steam sale or something, but still.
Yeah, maybe that just seems kind of silly,
Of course, games that sell that well don't come down in price. That's the thing, right? They tend not to lower the price until they stop selling, right?
Right.
How long did it take for the price on Skyrim to come down? It took several years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in a game like this, put this in perspective. The game sells for, was it $60? Is that what it was? $60, Blabs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to put that in perspective, it sold 22 million copies. The grand total of that, before the 30%, was it grossed $1.3 billion. So it's like, yeah, I think they're doing pretty damn good.
And now we're gonna get a second one. And I'm not really excited for it.
Well, maybe they'll learn. Maybe they'll learn from the criticisms.
That would be
maybe
great,
they will improve it. You don't know.
That'd be great, but I feel like everyone who bought it was like, yeah, this game is amazing. And then most people who bought the game that I know didn't even finish the game. So I'm just like, okay. So you bought the game, you praised it and everything, you didn't even finish the game, but you kept saying it's amazing, but she never finished it.
You'd be surprised how many of these huge games that sell gajillions of copies, nobody finishes them. Look at the one that blows my mind is go on Steam and look at how many people finished Red Dead Redemption 2.
Right.
It's like fucking 12% or so. It's like nobody fucking finished that game. And yet it's sold like how many millions of copies?
Now,
wild.
But see, okay, that's an interesting conversation though, because I think you could say that about pretty much every generation. There's people who have very fond memories of games from like the Nintendo era, that never finished those games either, but they think they were super fun. People go back and like, oh, I love the Ninja Turtles game, right? But they never beat Ninja Turtles game or whatever it may be. There's a lot of those games from back in the day that people only got halfway through the game, but they have fond memories of it, trying to beat it. And I don't know. I don't think like the idea of beating the game necessarily means that you have to, that was the bar of enjoyment, as long as you just had fun while doing it. With that said, if you're going to do like a full review of the game, you should absolutely beat the game and all the things that go along with it.
One of the viewers, Liberty or Dead, just said 23% of people finished Red Dead 2.
Damn.
Just 23%.
That's honestly higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, but
Nice.
still, that's 23% of the fucking fully 1/4 of the people who bought Red Dead 2 didn't finish it.
Man, that's crazy.
Or did finish it rather.
Well,
And
to counter your point before, Craig.
Yes.
When I was saying, people are like bought the game, didn't finish, and they're like, oh my god, it's amazing. Some of these people are now slowly starting to pick it up again. They're like, it's actually not that great. So all this hype around, oh, this game's gonna be amazing, is why everyone was like, yeah. And then they're like, let me take a step back and actually look at this, and it's not that great. So that's where my issue is. Like take off the goggles, guys. Be completely unbiased when you look into games, because Hogwarts Legacy did so well because of all the bullshit surrounding J.K. Rowling. Not even about the actual gameplay.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It was really good timing because she was in the news like crazy.
Uh-huh.
And getting dunked on by the alphabet people, and it was a whole fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what I think is going to happen with, not to the controversial aspect of it, but I do think that indie will be a successful game based off of the IP alone, right? And I think
nostalgia. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, look, there's been a lot of those games, and not all of them have done well, even good ones, right? There's a Indiana Jones game you can play on Series X right now that's really good, actually, but the game when it came out wasn't that big of a success. It's not a huge video game franchise, Indiana Jones, for whatever reason. It probably should be, but for whatever reason, it's not.
I'm trying to see see what your point there, Razorfist. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is the latest Star Wars video game to come out, and I want to see how well that one did, because that one was released broken. Everyone crapped all over it. So, but how many people actually bought into it and enjoyed it? I don't see anything.
I don't see anything.
Sales, 16,742 physical units for PlayStation 5.
How many?
16,742 physical units.
I mean, that's
PlayStation 5. That's
well, for PlayStation 5, what the fuck? Nobody buys games on that console. Like fucking This console generation proves it. Sony could sell a box with a spring-loaded fist that immediately judos you in the junk. And provided the box has a PlayStation logo on it, an appalling number of people will still giddily line up for a fucking chode chop. That is just how this generation proves it.
I don't disagree with you on that, for sure.
Fuck.
With that said, Nintendo did sell cardboard, and so many people lined up to buy that as well. And,
That's true.
And people, look, you can make a typewriter out of it. Yay! And then it was never used again because we're all idiots, and that's kind of how it goes. So